Hi, my name is Dov Seidman. My book, How, and this program are all about looking at the world, at business, and our lives through a new lens. I believe there are changes taking place that compel us to think in new ways beyond what we do to how we do what we do. What changes are we talking about? Take this factory, actually a set being prepared for a movie. It captures a time and a place that no longer exists for most of us, where change was measured in decades, where business transactions took weeks, if not months. Like this movie set, that framework is nothing more than an illusion. The world of today is flat. It's hyper-connected and hyper-transparent. And success now depends on how you connect up and collaborate across global supply chains and global networks. It's about how you relate to and communicate with colleagues, customers, or suppliers that come from different cultures and speak different languages. It's about how companies create trust with their people and their customers. And it's about how colleagues create trust with one another so they can take the necessary risks to innovate. We find ourselves in a challenging place. In this hyper-connected world, we are being connected up through technology and communications networks at a rate faster than we've been able to develop frameworks and the language to understand each other. The transparency of our organizations and our lives is difficult to accept. We're used to having impenetrable walls around our companies and ourselves. Information used to be king, and we could use it to control things. We could tell our story and the story of our companies. Today, information's like a toddler. It gets into everything and it can't be controlled. So how do we turn the conditions of the world in which we find ourselves to our advantage? How do we thrive in this world? The answer no longer lies just in what we do, but in how we do what we do. Today, the most powerful opportunity to differentiate yourself or your company, to stand out, to be bold, to add unique value, to gain lasting advantage, to win, lies in how you do what you do. In other words, there is a unique opportunity to outbehave the competition. Think about it. If you keep 9 out of 10 promises and your competitor keeps just 8, you win. If you reach out and extend trust across global networks and collaborate with your colleagues and suppliers, you win. If you offer a rich and meaningful experience to your customers, they will come back and you will win. Where once winning was a result of outperforming the competition, we can now trace success to people who learn to outbehave the competition. We trust people who get their hows right. We trust people who are open and honest. We trust people who say what they mean what they say, and always follow through. And we trust people who say they're sorry when they don't. And perhaps the most important thing we need to know about trust is that we give trust away. We extend trust to others. In doing so, we take a risk. In relation to others, we make ourselves vulnerable. They could do right by us or let us down. And that's how the journey begins. I think of it as a trip, where the T stands for trust, which leads to risk, R for risk. Taking a risk enables innovation, I for innovation. And innovation leads to progress, P for progress. And isn't progress the goal of every journey? We've spoken about looking at the world through a new lens. We've talked about a journey that begins with trust. Now let's look at how teams of people and entire companies get their hows right. Most of us are on teams or members of companies, and we need to get our hows right collectively so that our team or company can win. For a team or company to outbehave the competition, it needs to get its hows right. In other words, it needs a strong culture. To create a culture that inspires people, a culture where people collectively get their hows right and outbehave the competition, we need to become a culture that is self-governed. What do I mean by a self-governing culture? It's a culture in which people perform at the highest levels because they believe in and understand the mission, and they are inspired from within by their own commitment, passion, and energy. They get their house right because not to do so is no longer a failure to comply with external rules and policies, but rather a betrayal of their own beliefs and values. In these kinds of self-governing cultures, we see 5 distinct hows that enable organizations to thrive. First, there is how we know. Does information freely flow, and do people trust each other because they have access to information upon which that trust can be built? Second, there is how we behave. Do people dedicate energy and focus on getting their house right and to differentiating themselves and their company through how they do what they do? Third, we have how we relate. Are we connecting and collaborating with other people, adding energy, creating our own waves? Fourth, how we recognize. What kind of performance and success is rewarded? What and how do we celebrate? Fifth, there is how we pursue. Is the organization focused on the near term, on survival, or do people have a clear sense of purpose? And do they see themselves on a journey to thrive, to lasting success, and to significance? If all of this sounds idealistic or somehow not realistic, think again. It's real. There are companies and people around the world creating self-governing cultures at this very moment. And I believe these are the companies where all of us would like to work, with whom all of us would want to do business. And I believe these are the companies that will thrive in the future, who will get to the top and stay at the top.